Willow's rage. A woman scorned seeks vengeance. After months of fighting for her freedom, Willow Tate finally got the chance to breathe again, thanks to her determined attorney Alexis Davis, who pieced together the truth and exposed the flaws in the investigation against her. Willow walked out of Pentonville with a chance to reclaim her life. The bail hearing had been a turning point. Alexis had rallied witnesses, challenged the police's rushed judgment, and made the case that the real killer might still be out there. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, hope seemed real. Willow could finally focus on her 2 children and rebuilding what had been torn apart. But hope is a fragile thing in Port Charles, and Willow would soon discover that freedom comes with a steep emotional price. An unexpected meeting at Metro Court. With her newfound freedom, Willow decided to treat herself to an afternoon at Metro Court Gardens. She had gotten dressed carefully that day, putting on makeup and wearing an outfit that made her feel like herself again, not like the prisoner she had been forced to become. The autumn sunshine filtered through the windows as she walked through the elegant courtyard, her heart lighter than it had been in months. She was simply enjoying a moment of peace when she spotted them. There, seated at a prime table overlooking the gardens, was Michael Corinthos with their son Wiley. And sitting beside them, her hand occasionally brushing Michael's arm, was Jacinda Bracken. Willow's breath caught in her throat. Her feet stopped moving. For a moment, she simply stood there, watching. Michael was smiling, genuinely smiling at Jacinda. Wiley was laughing, eating dessert, completely comfortable with this woman who had no place in their lives. The scene looked domestic. It looked like a family. It looked like betrayal. Jealousy ignites. The anger started low in Willow's chest and rose quickly, like a fire catching on dry wood. She knew Michael had moved on. She wasn't foolish enough to think otherwise. But seeing it, witnessing her son so relaxed and happy with another woman, was different. It was visceral. Willow wasn't naive. She understood that she and Michael were finished. Their marriage had been complicated, built on lies and desperation, crumbling under the weight of Michael's obsession with revenge. She had accepted that chapter was closed. But knowing something intellectually and feeling it emotionally are 2 entirely different things. This was Jacinda Bracken, a woman Willow had heard whispers about her own Port Charles. The rumors painted an unflattering picture, but that wasn't what ignited Willow's fury. What mattered was that Michael had chosen her, that Michael was parading her in front of Wiley, that Michael, who had destroyed Willow's life, seemed happy. Willow squared her shoulders and began walking toward their table. The confrontation. Michael's expression shifted the moment he saw her. Surprise flashed across his face, quickly replaced by something darker: calculation, perhaps, or concern about how this encounter might play out. He excused himself from the table and moved to intercept Willow before she could reach Jacinda. "Willow," he said, his voice carefully controlled, "you're out." "Congratulations on the excellent detective work," Willow shot back, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Oh wait, that wasn't you? That was me, trying to survive while you continued your little game." Michael's jaw tightened. "What do you want?" "What do I want?" Willow laughed, a sharp, brittle sound. "I want you to explain to me how you have the audacity to sit here with my son and that woman. I want you to tell me how you can smile like you don't have a care in the world when my entire life has been destroyed." "Your life was destroyed the moment you decided to shoot me," Michael said coldly. The accusation hung in the air between them like a weapon. Willow's eyes blazed. "I know what you did," she hissed, moving closer so only he could hear. "I know you're the one who planted that gun in my room at Elizabeth's house. I know you shot Drew and pinned it on me. You did this, Michael. You destroyed me to save yourself." Michael didn't deny it outright. He simply stared at her with an intensity that confirmed every word. An announcement that changes everything. But Willow's anger wasn't finished burning. Over Michael's shoulder, she could see Jacinda rising from the table, concern etched across her face. That's when she noticed the glint of light catching on Jacinda's left hand. A ring. Not just any ring. An engagement ring. Willow's blood ran cold. "No," she whispered, then louder, "No. Tell me you didn't." Michael's silence was confirmation enough. Willow pushed past him and walked straight to Jacinda, her entire body trembling with rage. For a moment, she simply stared at the other woman, at the diamond on her finger, at the way Jacinda looked at Michael like he was some kind of prize rather than a manipulative, controlling man who destroyed everyone around him. "You're going to marry him?" Willow asked, her voice low and dangerous. Jacinda opened her mouth to respond, but she never got the chance. The slap hurt her on Metro Court. Willow's hand moved before she could think about it. The sound of her palm connecting with Jacinda's cheek cracked through the quiet elegance of Metro Court Gardens like a gunshot. Several patrons turned to stare. A server froze mid-step. Wiley's eyes widened. Jacinda staggered backward, her hand flying to her face. "You have no idea what you're marrying," Willow spat, her voice shaking with emotion. "He's a liar. He's a murderer. He'll destroy you just like he destroyed me." Security began moving toward them, but Michael held up a hand, signaling them to stop. He didn't want to draw more attention than they already had. "Get out of here," Michael said to Willow, his voice ice. "Oh, I'm leaving," Willow replied, backing away slowly, her eyes fixed on Jacinda. But this isn't over. Not by a long shot. A vow of vengeance. Later that evening, alone in the small apartment where she was staying, Willow made a vow. She had lost her marriage, her reputation, almost lost her freedom. But she would not lose this final battle. Michael wanted to marry Jacinda. He wanted to parade his new life in front of everyone, acting as though he hadn't destroyed an innocent woman to cover his crimes. He wanted to play happy family with Wiley, while Willow fought tooth and nail just to see her children. Not if Willow could help it. She thought about the wedding that was surely being planned. She thought about Michael standing at the altar, confident and self-satisfied, convinced he had one. She thought about Jacinda in her white dress, blissfully unaware of the man she was marrying. And Willow made a silent promise she would destroy that wedding before it ever happened. She would expose Michael's lies. She would make sure everyone in Port Charles knew exactly what kind of man he was. She would take away his happiness just as he had taken away hers. Willow didn't know exactly how she would do it yet, but she was smart, and she was motivated by something far more powerful than Michael's legal strategies or his family's money. She was motivated by rage. The wheels were already turning in her mind. There were people in Port Charles who wanted the truth just as badly as she did Chase, Alexis, maybe even others. Michael had made too many enemies, cut too many people, and now, with the full power of a woman with nothing left to lose, Willow was going to make him pay. Michael Corinthos had underestimated her once. He wouldn't make that mistake again. By the time his wedding day arrived, Michael would learn a crucial lesson. Never make an enemy out of someone you've already destroyed, because they have nothing left to fear and everything to gain from your downfall. The battle for truth had only just begun, and Willow Tate was going to win it, no matter what it took. Next, we'll be diving deep into the shocking fallout from Marty Gray's disastrous scheme against the Quartermain family, a plan that has left his reputation in ruins, his family relationships in shambles, and his future uncertain. What was meant to be a cunning move to gain power and control has turned into a full-blown personal and professional catastrophe. As the dust settles, Port Charles is buzzing with speculation. Can Marty recover from this epic mistake? Or is this truly the beginning of his downfall? Marty Gray's master plan crumbles. It all started with Marty's ill-conceived decision to Dr. Monica Quartermain's will, believing he could outsmart one of the most powerful and ruthless families in Port Charles. Marty thought he had found a loophole, a way to rewrite the Quartermain legacy to his own benefit. He manipulated the legal document to make it appear as though Monica had left the entire Quartermain estate to her supposed long-lost sister, Veronica Ronnie Bard. For a brief moment, Marty actually believed he had pulled it off. He imagined himself sitting comfortably atop the Quartermain fortune, basking in his own cleverness. But in true GH fashion, the truth came crashing down. And it wasn't gentle. Ronnie Bard, the supposed heiress, unexpectedly came clean, confessing that the entire inheritance setup was a lie. With that, Marty's intricate deception unraveled in spectacular fashion, leaving him exposed and humiliated. As Marty slunk away from the Quartermain mansion, his pride in tatters, he went straight to one of the only people he could still turn to, his sister, Mayor Laura Collins. But instead of comfort, Marty found confrontation. Laura Collins confronts her brother's betrayal. When Marty confessed his scheme to Laura, her disappointment was palpable. She couldn't believe her brother, a seasoned attorney, a man who had built a reputation for being shrewd but ethical, could stoop so low. Laura has always been the moral compass of Port Charles, the steady hand that others turn to in moments of chaos. To discover that her own brother had committed fraud and forgery against one of the city's most prominent families cut her deeply. What shocked Laura even more was Ned Quartermain's reaction. Rather than pressing charges, Ned chose to let Marty off the hook, on one condition. Marty had to tell Laura the truth himself. Ned's decision wasn't born out of mercy, it was strategy. In his mind, letting Laura deal with her brother's mess was punishment enough. Ned knows how to play the long game, and this move was his way of twisting the knife just a little deeper. Now, with his professional credibility hanging by a thread and his sister's trust shattered, Marty's world has turned upside down. But the storm is far from over, because Tracy Quartermain hasn't had her say yet. Tracy Quartermain, the calm before the storm. If there's one person in Port Charles you don't want as an enemy, it's Tracy Quartermain. Sharp-tongued, fiercely intelligent, and utterly ruthless when crossed, Tracy is the kind of woman who turns humiliation into motivation. And Marty just handed her a reason to fight back. Tracy has yet to confront him face to face, but when she does, there's no doubt she'll deliver a verbal lashing worthy of the Quartermain name. And knowing Tracy, it won't stop there. She might make sure Marty's scandal becomes very public, possibly alerting the State Bar Association and ensuring that his law license is permanently revoked. Marty's legal career, once thriving, could come to an abrupt and humiliating end. What makes this even more intriguing is how Ned and Tracy's dynamic might play into the fallout. Ned's decision to spare Marty could anger Tracy, not because she wanted vengeance for vengeance's sake, but because she hates loose ends. Tracy has always believed that mistakes must be punished, not excused. If Ned won't act, she might take justice into her own hands. The hidden motives behind Marty's betrayal. Fans are scratching their heads over Marty's sudden turn toward deceit. Why would a man known for his sharp wit and calculated intelligence risk everything he's built just to spite Tracy Quartermain? The answer might lie in the depth of his resentment and the personal insecurities that have been eating away at him for years. Marty's rivalry with Tracy didn't spring out of nowhere. Their clashes have been simmering for months, each exchange dripping with sarcasm and veiled insults. But according to some insiders, Marty's anger might go deeper than professional jealousy. Some speculate that Tracy's actions in past business dealings may have cost Marty something valuable, possibly a lucrative client or an influential connection that damaged his reputation, long before this scandal broke. If that's true, this latest act could have been his attempt at revenge, a misguided one that backfired spectacularly. Yet, even with his motivations exposed, fans still feel that something doesn't add up. How did Marty get his hands on Monica's will in the first place? And who slipped him that mysterious letter that set his plan into motion? Some viewers believe another player is pulling the strings behind the scenes, manipulating Marty's ego for their own gain. The long road down. Marty faces his reckoning. Now that his deception has been exposed, Marty is on the verge of losing everything that matters. His career is in jeopardy, his reputation as an attorney has been destroyed, and his family ties are fraying fast. The Gray name, once respected, is now whispered in scandal. For a man who prides himself on being in control, this is a nightmare scenario. Marty's arrogance, the same trait that once made him successful, has become his undoing. As Port Charles watches him fall from grace, the question becomes, how far will he fall before he finally learns humility? This could be Marty's breaking point, or it could be the beginning of a new chapter. Because in Port Charles, ruin often precedes redemption. Tracy's revenge and Laura's dilemma. While Marty grapples with his downfall, Tracy's wheels are already turning. She's not the type to forgive and forget, and the Quartermain family pride has been wounded. Expect Tracy to make her move in the coming weeks, possibly leveraging her connections in the business world to ensure that Marty is blacklisted from major law firms and partnerships. Meanwhile, Laura Collins faces a moral dilemma of her own. As the mayor, she must uphold the law. As a sister, she wants to protect her brother. But those two roles are colliding in a way she can't easily reconcile. If the truth about Marty's forgery becomes public knowledge, it could tarnish her own reputation as a leader. Will she choose family loyalty or professional integrity? Either decision could have far-reaching consequences, a chance at redemption or ruin. Despite the mess he's made, Marty may still have a chance to rebuild his life. Some fans are already speculating that he'll seek comfort in the arms of his old flame, Lucy Coe. Their complicated relationship was never truly resolved, and with Marty now at rock bottom, Lucy might be the one person who can remind him of who he used to be. Lucy has always seen through Marty's facade, the charm, the wit, the self-importance. She knows the man beneath the arrogance, the one who craves connection and forgiveness. If anyone can help him rediscover his better self, it's her. But whether Lucy will take that risk again remains to be seen. After all, she's been burned before. Alternatively, Marty could use this scandal as an opportunity to reinvent himself completely. Port Charles has seen countless villains find redemption through acts of courage or self-sacrifice. Maybe Marty's road to atonement will lead him into unexpected territory, perhaps defending someone falsely accused, or exposing corruption that redeems his name. The fallout continues. As Port Charles digests the news of Marty Gray's betrayal, the consequences are only beginning to unfold. Tracy is sharpening her knives, Laura is struggling to protect what's left of her family, and Marty himself is standing on the edge of ruin, uncertain whether to fight, flee, or face the music. This scandal has exposed not just Marty's flaws, but the fragile web of alliances that keep Port Charles in balance. And if history has taught us anything, it's that no secret stays buried forever. In the coming weeks, expect tensions to rise, loyalties to shift, and perhaps, just perhaps, the first glimmer of Marty's redemption. Next, we'll be diving into one of the most debated storylines heating up Port Charles, Jordan Ashford's mysterious alliance with Jen Sidwell. Is Jordan really spying on him, or has she gone completely rogue? Fans everywhere are torn between believing she's on an undercover mission and thinking she's simply fallen into a comfortable new life that has nothing to do with law enforcement. With so many layers to this developing plot, there's plenty to unpack, from Jordan's conflicted emotions to Sidwell's suspicious charm and the rumors of a possible criminal underworld lurking just beneath the surface. Jordan's double life, or a complete change of heart. When Jordan Ashford first took the job with Jen Sidwell, many assumed she was doing what she does best, working undercover. After all, Jordan has a long and complicated history with law enforcement and covert operations. But as the weeks go on, fans are beginning to notice that her motivations seem different. She's not collecting evidence. She's not sneaking around or making coded phone calls. Instead, Jordan appears relaxed, even happy, in her new role. Recently, Jordan admitted to Curtis Ashford that her initial intention was, indeed, to spy on Sidwell. However, things didn't go as she planned. She confessed that Sidwell has turned out to be nothing like she expected. A charming, intelligent, and surprisingly transparent man who doesn't appear to be doing anything illegal. Rather than digging up dirt, Jordan's found herself legitimately enjoying the job, reaping the financial rewards, and embracing a new lifestyle far removed from the chaos of Port Charles politics and policing. But that confession left fans wondering, is Jordan telling the whole truth? Sidwell, clean businessman or hidden criminal? Sidwell's reputation in Port Charles is complicated. On the surface, he's a respected entrepreneur who's quickly built a small empire of influence, a man who's friendly, philanthropic, and seemingly above reproach. But there's something about him that doesn't sit right with longtime GH viewers. his calm demeanor, and carefully crafted image feel to perfect. Some fans believe Sidwell's cleanliness is exactly what makes him dangerous. There are whispers that he may be using his legitimate businesses to launder money or cover for illicit dealings. If that's true, Jordan could be walking straight into a trap without even realizing it. What's particularly interesting is that Jordan, once one of Port Charles' most intuitive detectives, seems to have lost that edge. Maybe it's her emotional exhaustion after years of personal and professional chaos. Maybe she's tired of chasing bad guys who never really go away. Or maybe, deep down, she knows that getting close to Sidwell could give her more than justice. It could give her stability, something she hasn't had in years. Fans speak out, the fall of a once powerful woman. The reaction from GH fans online has been intense. Many viewers are disappointed in how Jordan's character has shifted from a strong, confident woman to someone who seems to have lost her independence and fire. One frustrated fan wrote, "They've turned Jordan into a shadow of her former self. She used to lead investigations and take down major criminals. Now she's basically Sidwell's assistant. No drive, no passion, and no purpose." Another fan chimed in with even harsher words, saying, "She's gone from police commissioner to glorified secretary. Where's the Jordan who could outsmart Cyrus Renault and stand her ground with Curtis?" This version is all about money and comfort, but not everyone sees it as a downfall. Some viewers think this could be a long play, that Jordan is pretending to be complacent while secretly watching and waiting for Sidwell to make a move. After all, this wouldn't be the first time she's hidden her true motives. Could it be that she's playing the role of loyal employee just to lull Sidwell into a false sense of security? Curtis and Jordan, the lingering flame. Of course, no storyline involving Jordan would be complete without Curtis Ashford. The chemistry between them still lingers, no matter how many times they've tried to move on. When Jordan opened up to Curtis about her original spying plan, the tension was unmistakable. It's clear that Curtis still cares about her, and perhaps worries about her safety more than he'd like to admit. For Jordan, though, that conversation stirred up old feelings she thought she had buried. She's torn between her past with Curtis and her present independence. Fans have noticed that even when she's with Sidwell, her eyes betray her. She still thinks about the man who broke her heart, even if she'd never admit it out loud. That dynamic has divided the fandom. Some fans want Jordan and Curtis to find their way back to each other. Others believe Jordan deserves better, someone who values her intelligence and strength rather than constantly questioning her choices. For now, it looks like Jordan's love life is as tangled as ever, especially with whispers that Pascal, Sidwell's unpredictable associate, might develop feelings for her too. Pascal's creepy behavior raises red flags. Speaking of Pascal, his unsettling presence in Sidwell's orbit is becoming harder to ignore. Even though Sidwell maintains an air of professionalism, Pascal's interactions often carry a darker undertone. Viewers are convinced that Pascal knows more than he's letting on, and that his behavior could be the very thing that draws Jordan back into investigative mode. If Pascal crosses a line or slips up, Jordan might finally see cracks in Sidwell's pristine image. Several fans have speculated online that Pascal could even threaten Jordan, prompting her to dig deeper into Sidwell's business dealings. That confrontation could be the turning point, forcing Jordan to choose between loyalty to her boss and loyalty to her own moral compass. A fall from grace, or the calm before her comeback. The current version of Jordan is markedly different from the one fans met years ago. She was once a woman of action, a leader who demanded respect and fought for justice even when it cost her personally. Now, she seems content to enjoy the finer things, the money, the freedom, the luxury of not having to constantly prove herself. Some fans see this as a betrayal of her legacy, while others think it's a realistic evolution. After years of losing people she loved, facing endless danger, and sacrificing everything for her job, maybe Jordan just wanted peace. The tragedy is that peace in Port Charles rarely lasts, and if Sidwell's empire isn't as clean as it looks, Jordan may soon find herself in deeper trouble than ever before. But there's also hope. General Hospital has a history of giving its characters redemption arcs just when fans least expect it. This could be Jordan's opportunity to rise again, stronger and smarter than before. All it would take is one shocking discovery, one clue that reignites the fire in her that's been dimmed for far too long. What comes next for Jordan Ashford? As we head into the next chapters of this storyline, the possibilities are wide open. Will Jordan uncover a dark secret about Sidwell's empire? Could she become the key to exposing a hidden criminal network operating under Port Charles' polished surface? Or will she continue to blur the line between duty and desire, losing herself in the process? One potential twist that fans are buzzing about involves Jordan stumbling upon hidden evidence, perhaps documents or recordings that reveal Sidwell's connection to other shady figures like Pascal or even Cyrus Renaud. This could reignite Jordan's inner investigator, forcing her back into the dangerous world she thought she'd left behind. And if that happens, Sidwell's charm and patience might quickly turn into menace. No matter which direction the story takes, one thing is certain: Jordan Ashford's arc is far from over. Whether she emerges as the hero who exposes corruption or falls prey to it, her choices in the coming weeks will redefine her place in Port Charles forever. Final thoughts: Jordan at a crossroads. As the week unfolds, Jordan stands at a critical crossroads. She can either reclaim her identity as a fearless investigator or continue down this path of comfortable complacency. With the walls closing in around Sidwell and Pascal's unpredictable behavior threatening to explode, Jordan may not have the luxury of choice much longer. Whatever happens next, fans will be glued to their screens. Because one thing's for sure: in Port Charles, secrets never stay buried for long, and the truth always comes out in the end.